Right now, there are about 25 billion chickens alive on this planet. That's roughly 3 chickens for every human being on Earth. They outnumber every other bird species combined. It isn't close. The chicken is, by far, the most successful bird in the history of the world. And it's the most eaten animal humans have ever raised. So the story seems obvious. We found a tasty bird, and we farmed it. Except that's not what happened. Not even close. For centuries after we brought chickens into our lives, nobody ate them. We honored them. We buried them with respect. We watched them fight. This is the strange, true story of how the world's most ordinary animal was once one of its most extraordinary. To find the beginning, you have to go to the jungles of Southeast Asia. Every chicken alive descends from one wild bird, the red junglefowl. And it looks almost nothing like the bird in your kitchen. It's smaller, leaner, brilliantly colored, built to fly and hide. It lived in the trees. It was shy, alert, and wanted nothing to do with us. So for thousands of years, humans and junglefowl mostly ignored each other. Something had to pull that bird down out of the trees. And it wasn't hunting. It wasn't hunger. It was farming. Around 3,500 years ago, something new arrived. Humans in Southeast Asia began growing dry rice. And to grow it, they cut down the forest and opened up the land. That completely transformed the landscape and accidentally built paradise. Because red junglefowl thrive in open, less wooded ground. And now that ground was covered in something irresistible. Grain. Piles of rice. Stored surplus. Scattered scraps around villages. For a bird that eats seeds, human farms became an endless buffet. So the junglefowl came down from the trees, on their own. Nobody hunted them into captivity. Nobody planned this at all. The rice was the bait, and the birds walked into our world willingly. It's the same pattern as cats. The animal made the first move. Now, here's where the science gets interesting. For decades, people claimed chickens were domesticated 10,000 years ago. In China or India, the dates were everywhere and everyone disagreed. So in 2022, an international team decided to settle it properly. They examined chicken remains from around 600 sites in 89 countries. And they found the old story was simply wrong. Many ancient chicken bones had been badly dated. Bones sink through soil over time into older layers beneath them. So they looked far older than they actually were, when directly dated. Many turned out to be thousands of years younger than believed. The oldest clear domestic chicken bones come from Ban Non Wat in Thailand, dated to roughly 1650 to 1250 BCE, about 3,500 years ago. The chicken isn't an ancient companion, it's a relative newcomer. But the biggest surprise isn't when, it's what we did with them. Because for a long time, chickens were not food, they were marvels. They were exotic, rare, strange, something you showed off. The rooster was loud, brilliant, and fought without fear. So people bred them for cockfighting long before they bred them for meat. They were used in ritual, in sacrifice, in telling the time. The rooster's crow marked the sunrise, a living clock in a world without them. In ancient Egypt, chickens arrived as exotic curiosities, not livestock. In Greece, eggs were considered a luxury, not a staple. And in Iron Age Europe, archaeologists found something remarkable. Chickens buried alone in their own graves with clear care. No butchery marks, no signs of being eaten, buried with honors. These birds weren't dinner. They were treated as special, almost sacred. So when did the chicken fall from grace? Researchers estimate it took more than 500 years. 5 centuries between living with chickens and regularly eating them. The shift came as they spread west and became more common. Rarity is what made them precious. Once they were everywhere. The magic wore off, and a sacred bird became a cheap meal. The Romans industrialized it. They perfected keeping chickens for meat and eggs. And once the chicken became food, its transformation accelerated. But nothing compares to what we did in the last 70 years. Modern breeding reshaped the chicken almost beyond recognition. Today's birds grow roughly 3 times faster than they did 50 years ago. The slim, colorful jungle bird became a heavy, pale, fast-growing animal. We took a sacred creature of the forest and rebuilt it into food. And this reveals something important about domestication itself. We assume we tamed animals because we wanted to eat them. But that's us reading our present backwards into the past. How we use an animal today doesn't explain why the relationship began. Chickens came for the rice. We kept them for beauty, ritual, and spectacle. Eating them was almost an afterthought, one that took centuries to arrive. Same as cats, same as dogs. These relationships rarely started as a plan. So, the next time you look at a chicken, the most common, most overlooked bird on the planet, remember what it used to be. A brilliant, wary jungle bird that came down for rice. A creature people once honored and buried in its own grave. There are 25 billion of them now, and almost none live a year. The most successful bird in history, and the most forgotten. It won the whole planet, and we stopped seeing it entirely. If you love the hidden stories behind everyday things, this is your channel. Subscribe to Fiuzaverse, and let's keep uncovering how our world really came to be.